Hello, Georgia. How y'all doing? Is there something happening tomorrow? Sounds like y'all ready to win an election. Thank you so very much. This is an exciting time here in Georgia. That's right, put on your shoes. I'm not sure the rest of the country saw you coming, Georgia. We have been talking about this for a while. I'm not so sure folks believed us. But we've got a message to the rest of America. Welcome to the new Georgia. Welcome to the blue Georgia. Something is happening. There is a lot of energy on the ground. I've been moving all across this state, talking to the voters of Georgia. We are seeing record turnout. Over 3 million folks have voted during the early voting period. That is unprecedented, historical, and stunning. But here's what I know. As the people of Georgia are turning out, my name may be on the bus, my name is on the ballot, but they're not turning out for me, they're turning out for themselves. They're turning out because they understand that health care is on the ballot. You're turning out because you understand that a living wage is on the ballot. You're turning out because you understand that the dignity of work has to be protected, and that if we call people essential workers, we ought to pay them an essential wage. We ought to provide for them essential benefits. And so thank you so very much. Make some noise if you've already voted. Thank you for voting. But here's the deal. If you've already voted, and I know, the folks who gather for a rally like this, I already do the answer to that question. I mean, look, I'm a pastor. I know when I'm preaching to the choir. But even the choir needs rehearsal every now and then. So here's what I need you to rehearse. I need you, since you've already voted, I need you to rehearse that same passion and commitment to everybody you know. I need you to understand that your job is not done until you call your family members, until you call your friends, until you call your cousin and nephew, boo-boo, squanika, all of them. Call the folk who owe you money. Call Lottie, Dottie, and everybody, and tell them that the hour is late. We are down to the wire. And the only way this thing goes in the wrong direction is if we become overly confident and give in to the ghosts of complacency and indifference. We lose only by the margin of our disengagement. The other side is worried that Georgia might actually turn out and vote. Now, that's a pitiful place to be. I mean, if you think about it, I feel sorry for them. That's a pathetic place to be. To be on the side that's hoping that people don't vote. I'm glad I'm on the side of the voters. But I understand why they are concerned. Because there is a movement afoot in Georgia. We've seen 800,000 new voters register in just the last 2 years. Come on, give yourselves a round of applause. I mean, that's amazing. I understand why they're worried. because on November 3rd, you shocked the nation and you gave Georgia 16 electoral votes to the next president, the president-elect and vice president-elect of the United States, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I'm on my way to that rally to welcome them back to Georgia. I was with Vice President-elect yesterday in my hometown of Savannah, and I'll be with President-elect Joe Biden in just a little while, and so forgive me, we got to get up out of here in just a little bit. But let me say this. We shocked the world on November 3rd. We're looking good for early voting, vote by mail. But I'm serious. I need you to call everybody you know and make sure they turn out to vote. Make sure that they show up. It is absolutely urgent. And we need to win by a comfortable margin. Because, you know, funny things go on. Now, you may have heard over the weekend that a certain man made an interesting phone call. Did y'all hear that phone call? I mean, with all the things that are a part of his job description, all the things he has to do, is supposed to be doing, he spent an hour on the phone. And in the middle of a pandemic. But don't just focus on the man on the phone behind the orange curtain, because he's a part of an ongoing issue. Because just a few weeks ago, there was another politician in South Carolina who called the Secretary of State in Georgia. And he said essentially the same thing. They both said the same thing. Can't you find 11,000 votes? Isn't that interesting? And they wouldn't be saying that unless there was some history. If you listen, what they were saying in essence is, don't you know how we roll? But listen to me, Riverdale, I don't want you to focus on them, because the man who was on the phone on Saturday, he's already on his way out, whether he knows it or not. Pay him no mind. What you really ought to be concerned about is that you have two sitting United States senators who are not standing up for the voters of Georgia and saying, when the voters speak, we ought to respect what the voters say, even if we don't like the outcome. You've got a sitting United States senator, one unelected, Kelly Loeffler, that I'm running against, and they're not standing up for Georgia. They're not defending your voice. They're not defending your vote. And this past week, when we were discussing the $2,000 stimulus, instead of flying back to Washington, D.C., and insisting that they put up the stimulus vote for a vote, Kelly Loeffler was so busy trying to keep her job that she's not doing her job. Last Friday, she could have been in Washington, D.C. Last Friday, she should have been in Washington, D.C. when there was a vote that would have given our troops a pay raise. But instead, she's been focused on herself. And any sitting United States senator who has not been looking out for you now, don't you know they won't be looking out for you later? And so here's what you've got to do. You've got to call all your friends and call all of your family members and make sure we fire them. Send Kelly and David back home. Are you ready to win this election? She's been running the most negative campaign in Georgia history, telling all kinds of lies, trying to misrepresent my record. As we say in church, calling me everything but a child of God. Any church folk out there? I'm just checking. Scandalizing my name? Well, that's all right. I was with my mama yesterday. I got a praying mama. She's 82 years old. She grew up in Waycross, Georgia. She used to pick cotton in Waycross, other people's cotton. But the other day, the 82-year-old hands that used to pick somebody else's cotton picked her youngest son to be a United States Senator. And my mama, who's a praying woman, a wise woman, she said, son, don't worry about it. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. And in just a little while, she can call me Senator Warnock. And so let's keep fighting the good fight. Let's remember what this fight is all about. Don't be caught up in the distractions, the division, the delusions. There's too much at stake. We've got to stand together. We've got to stick together. Dr. King showed us the way. He said we're tied in a single garment of destiny, caught up in an inescapable network of mutuality, and whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. We can't be distracted by the superficial distinctions of race. The differences are actually unremarkable. What binds us together is far more interesting. We should have known a long time ago that we need one another. But then came along a tragic, deadly pandemic that has taken the lives of now about 350,000 Americans. 10,000 Georgians. We should have known before the pandemic that we are tied in a single garment of destiny. We should have known before the pandemic that you need your neighbor to have health care. But then there comes this airborne, deadly disease. Deadly and airborne. And if my neighbor coughs, I am potentially imperiled by my neighbor's cough. That doesn't make my neighbor my enemy. It just reminds me that I have a stake in my neighbor's destiny. Because my neighbor's destiny may well be my own. We are as connected to one another in our humanity as a cough. Every time you sneeze, know that that sneeze is reminding you that you are connected to your neighbor, so you should want your neighbor to have health care, because if she is uncovered, you're unprotected. But not only that, you should want your neighbor to have access to a livable wage. You should want their children to be able to attend quality schools so that they can take care of you and pay into your Social Security. We are one people, one Georgia, one nation, one humanity. And we must stand together in this defining moment. Don't allow the old politics of division to trick us, because while we are looking and feeling threatened by one another, the folk who represent the status quo are laughing all the way to the bank. They're busy enriching themselves while you're becoming sicker and poorer. And so since so many of us are already sick, in the spirit of Fannie Lou Hamer, don't just be sick, get sick and tired. Matter of fact, don't just get sick and tired. Fannie Lou Hamer, who stood up in 1968 at the Democratic Convention, she said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of having to say what we ought to already know. And so I want you to take that frustration and take that righteous indignation and take it all the way to the polling booth so that we can say to our children and our grandchildren that in this defining moment, we stood up for the best in the American covenant. We want to be able to say that we did what we could, that we believed in that covenant, e pluribus unum, out of many one. And we stood for it, and we defended it, and we stood with our neighbors, and we remembered those who were lost, that we didn't sleep through this moment. And so my dad, God bless his memory, inspires me even now. He's gone, but he's a part of the great cloud of witnesses. And he used to wake me up every morning at dawn. And the thing about waking up at dawn is that it's morning, but it's still dark. It's dark, but morning is on the way. I know this has been a difficult and dark time. We've lost loved ones and we've lost livelihoods, but I want you to know that morning is on the way. And Scripture tells us that weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And so my dad would wake me up every morning because he didn't believe you should sleep too late. And he would say to me on a weekday, he would say to me on a Saturday, he didn't care what day of the week it was, he would say, get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready. And I said, Dad, get ready for what? It's Saturday. He said, I got something for you to do. I said, what do you want me to do? He said, I don't know. I'll figure that out later. Just be ready. I'm glad that my dad told me to be ready because he knew that the moment would come when I would just need to be prepared. And I want you to know that in this defining moment in American history, I'm ready. I'm ready to be your next United States Senator. And I've got a question for you. Are you ready? Ready for affordable health care, ready to win this election, ready to turn Georgia blue, ready to win the future? Well, call your neighbors, call your friends, call your colleagues, and tell them to get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready, get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready, get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready. Let's work together. Let's march together. Let's stay together. Let's pray together. Let's vote together. Let's win the future together. God bless you.